I guess I should get water, but I'll be all right.
All right, we are live. Too late for water now.
That was
No
great.
hydration for you. Perfect. Over there. Over there. Yes, we're there. Woohoo! Welcome, Midwest. If you really need to get water, you can
It's
get water.
okay. That was the best.
That was the best. This is the way we do things here. Welcome, Midwest Elevation, to another Tuesday Conversations to Raise the Collective Consciousness. We are here every week with healers, teachers, coaches, creatives, people in general who are doing the inner work to see the outer change and uplift us all. So excited that Khara is here today, and I'll tell you a little bit more about her in just a moment. But let us know that you're here. Give us a hello down in the comments, and if you're watching the replay, let us know as well, and what questions you have as we have our conversation come up. And what is it that, today we're going to be talking about how to cultivate calm in a chaotic world, which is a theme that we've been talking about a lot this year. I wonder why. Personal chaos, world chaos, but calm is available to you. Let me introduce you all to the fabulous. Wait, I got to get the right slide here. Come on now. No. Why is it giving? Sorry. Technology.
Ooh, fancy.
There we go. There we go. There you
Nice.
are. Look at your beautiful smile. I love it. So, everybody, I want you to welcome Khara Marie. She is here to talk to us about the 3 steps to cultivate calm in a chaotic world. Say that 5 times fast. Khara Marie is a 2-time award-winning mindset coach. She supports women to drop overwhelm at work so they can enjoy their life, family, and career again. She is the founder of Grow Your Greatness, a program that supports nature-loving, sensitive souls to get crystal clear on what they want, find and use their voice to advocate for themselves, and raise their vibration, right? Midwest elevation, raise the vibration to be empowered in their life and career. Grow Your Greatness is a unique translation of Khara Marie's knowledge of movement, mantra, and meditation in support of women who struggle with the constant demands of career and life and want support to implement strategies to feel calm, capable, and confident. Khara Marie would love to support you in discovering your true purpose and up-leveling your confidence so that you can live your next level life. Let's get elevated. Khara Marie is here in the house.
Thank you, Renee. Thank you. I
Absolutely.
love
I'm
those
so excited that
slides.
you're here.
Oh, thank you. I'm really happy to be here. I've been looking forward to having a conversation with you.
It's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. I love, even though I'm doing this work as well, and I
Mm-hmm.
do, the things that I've been able to manage, especially through the last year in keeping myself centered, there's always more to learn. There's always more to do.
Yeah.
And I'm just, the demands of career and life, and especially for women, not that men aren't
Yeah.
also, we all are pulled by many demands in this life. But being able to kind of reclaim
Yeah.
um, our stuff, reclaim our time
Ourselves.
and our energy and
Yeah.
ourselves,
Yeah.
that's why the work you do is so amazing.
Yeah. And especially, I think for some people, they've seen maybe that there's more space in their schedule, because things have shifted so much, right? And we're working from, a lot of people are
Yeah,
working from home. Not everyone is working from home, obviously. There are lots of
right.
people working on the front lines. But it's really interesting. One of my teachers was saying to me about how it's like so many people, we now have reclaimed what might have been a commute time, or other things, right? And so we're realizing that, we all had all these projects that we wanted to do, but I think a lot of people have made progress on things. Whatever it has been, if it's in your yard, if it's building a business, whatever it's been over the last year. But some people have really felt really stuck, and it's, not necessarily the time, but maybe the motivation and, being in this
Yeah.
constant transition. I mean, we have been in a constant transition, and for the last, it's now over 365 days, right? And
Right.
we're still going to be in one as we transition into whatever the future looks like until we find this new patterns, but we
Mm.
have been living in so much just disruption, that it's been hard to find new patterns and ways of beings, and we're creatures of habit. So when our things get disrupted, I love to have newness and I love to explore, but I really like to do it when I want to do it, not when it's like
Right.
being demanded of me, like, hey, okay, change again. I'm like, I can't. um and we've all been doing that for so long, for so
It's true.
long.
It's
Yeah.
true. I love that you pointed
Yeah.
out the transition piece because it's not just, oh, we're stuck at home, or,
Mhm.
oh, if you're not stuck at home because you're an essential worker, you're, stuck many hours at your place of employment where you're probably, exhausted and,
Yeah.
um,
And
not getting
yeah.
staffed or
Yep.
whatever,
Whatever it
whatever
might
it is.
be.
But the fact that it does, like, things keep shifting. Um,
Yeah.
and you've got kids and where they're going to school. I've
Uh-huh.
seen California now that, I've got cousins there and their kids are, oh, it's their first day back,
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. My friend's
And,
kids went
that's
back to
different.
school. Yeah.
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 So just all the transitions. And
It's a lot of transition. Yeah. A
it's
lot.
a
And
lot.
it keeps happening. And, I think we are learning how resilient we are as humans, but I know for some people, it just doesn't always feel good, whether you've been in a pandemic for a year or whether you just have, a lot of demands on you, whether that's at home or at work. We often think that there's no way out of those because we have to do things, or we should do them, or we're supposed to. And I do this, of course. I'm like, oh,
Mm.
well, I should. I have to. If I don't, what are they going to think?
Yep. What's going to happen? The world's going to fall apart. They're not going to like me anymore. This is going to. Yeah.
And it ends up with this whole just like, it comes at you from so many different directions, and it's all things that we do to ourselves, right? I'm reading the Four Agreements again right now,
Oh, I love that.
because it felt like it was time. And he talks about the mitote, if I'm saying that correctly, I think. And well, that's the 1,000 different voices that are in your head, right? And no
Oh,
one can
yeah.
understand each other. So whenever this
Mm.
overwhelm, I know for me, when it comes up, I haven't yet documented 1,000, but I do try to pick out, okay, what is this voice saying? What is this voice saying? What is this voice worried about? Okay, and where is my higher self? Where is my wise self?
Yeah.
Can I hear her
Mm.
above all the din, right?
Mhm.
Can
Yeah.
she help me be, as he says in the book, impeccable with my word, right? Because that
Yeah.
starts with, being not, he says, not sinning against yourself, and really
Mm.
just being in alignment, right? Because we get into it, we get into the shoulds and the supposed tos, and
Yeah.
there are things that we do need to do. I'm not advocating for like just shirking all responsibility, but how to find that balance,
Right.
when
And
we
how to
are in that
manage it,
place. Hmm.
and the
Yeah.
perspective of
Yeah. Yep.
how you're managing that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like the whole wash the dishes thing, right? Like, uh, you know, I have to do it every day, multiple times a day.
Yep.
Um, but I can use it as a means of like, why do I have to do this? Nah, 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 nah. Or I can take it as a moment, in the Buddhist, you wash the dish and
Right.
then it becomes, I can get lost in my thought. I can get the downloads. I can quiet my mind. It can actually be meditative.
Exactly.
Um, you
Exactly.
know.
Right. Instead of a chore or something. Yeah. I'm looking across at my sink right now. There's not too many dishes in the sink, but yes, it's just one of those things.
And
And
sometimes it's okay to leave them there.
it is absolutely okay to leave them there. Yes, it is. 100%. 100%. Yeah. It is
I
okay. And it's okay to leave other things undone too. I think too, I talk a lot in my events and when I'm working with clients about, and I've talked about it a lot in terms of career and this spillover effect that there is, when you're feeling like there's so much like the stress of work or career. And this can happen with your life or other things, right? It's like whenever you are feeling so overburdened, it's not like I think we think that we can stuff it down. We think that we can like put the lid on and then it's not, it's like, I got it under wraps, but really
Yep,
it all spills over into other parts of
yep.
our life. So whether you're having a lot of stress at work, even working from home on Zoom, like it's still stressful. It could be stressful
Mm-hmm.
because you're on Zoom. It could be stressful because you might work from home alone, or maybe you work from home with kids, and you're managing all of that.
Yep.
It's just a completely different way of doing things, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
there's stress with it, not getting to change the scenery and all of that stuff. There's this term that we use in the bhakti yoga tradition and with that kind of infuses everything that I do. And it's called spiritual bypassing, when we just want
Mm.
everything to be okay and we don't acknowledge the things that are wrong. And so we just say, okay, well, I'm it's okay. It's fine. I just have to, it's fine. And it's like, okay, but you're really not fine. It's like that old adage of it's okay to not be okay. Like, let's
Mm-hmm.
just be real and authentic with what's not working. And
Mm-hmm.
so you can unload that, right? And
Mm.
not just continue to carry the burden. And once you do some unloading, it's surprising that there's space that opens up and
Yeah, and
you
how
can,
quickly that happens if
yeah,
you
yeah,
allow yourself the space to cry or to punch your pillows for a minute or call a friend and take the time instead of head down barrel through.
totally. And that's
Yeah.
one of my steps to cultivating calm. It's sounds a little cliche, and I know other people talk about the pause or the sacred pause, but and I don't necessarily, I think it's definitely taking a pause, but it's also like what you do in that pause that really
Mm.
matters and what counts. You
Mhm.
don't want to pause from work but then have, still the cycle, like the hamster wheel going, right? We want to actually get off of the hamster wheel for a few minutes. It could literally be 60 seconds. Um, and do something in that time that nurtures you, that
Mm.
supports you. And, when I first started doing that, I didn't know what that was. I was like, well, okay, well, what do I need right now? I'm not, I don't know. I'm a little uncomfortable with that. And I think partly there were two things impacting that. One was I thought it had to be this grand big thing that I did. Like I
Yes.
had to
Oh,
like just leave immediately and go to the spa or something. I don't know. And then I also think that I just had been always so worried about
mm,
external stuff and less about me
mm,
that, I really had to just reacquaint myself with myself, right? I mean, now, one day, actually, just last week, literally, this was last week, I was setting my timer for every 45 minutes, and every 45 minutes, I would get up. I have the luxury of living in a sunny area. I would go outside and lay in the grass for 5 minutes and just give
mm.
myself the reset, right? Because I was able to do that.
Yeah.
But
Right.
just taking that pause, and then, I was able to get through whatever was going on that day.
Mm.
So that's a big one. And really tuning in and figuring out what is it that you really need in that moment, some self-care, some compassion, but it looks different for everyone, right?
Right. Right.
Someone else may need to go out for a run, or like something just completely different. And it's all that
Hmm.
internal sort of work to see what that thing is. So
Mm. I
yeah.
love that. I can't
Yeah.
wait till it's consistently warm enough here in the Midwest that I can
Yeah.
hit my timer every 45 minutes and go lay in the grass. We're close. It's like 50 today.
Oh yeah. And the sun, that's great.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Pretty soon it'll be too warm here to lay in the grass in the
yeah,
sun.
that's
Yes,
true.
we have the opposite
Yeah.
problem for sure. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I love that. So taking that time, taking that pause to create that space. What is one of your other steps that
Yeah.
you wanted to focus on today?
Yeah. A second step that I share often, and it is one of our most powerful tools aside from taking that pause, is the breath. And it's also
Mm-hmm.
something you can do when you pause, right? But it can also be separate, if you want to have a different practice in your pause than the breath. But really coming back to the breath, we often, um, you know, I forget how many breaths we take in a day. I just started reading Breath by James Nestor, and it's a yellow book, and it's pretty great. It's pretty fantastic. He flips out all these fun facts in that book about how many breaths you take in a day or in a lifetime, um, and we often find ourselves breathing really shallowly, especially when we're overwhelmed or stressed. It's like that's where hyperventilation comes from, right? Because we're
Right.
not tuned into our breath, and we're just really we're up in our head, and we really need to get out of that place, right? We need to get out of the place and come back into the body, into the heart. And the breath can really do that. In yoga, we have practices that we call pranayama, and
Mm.
that's basically controlled breathing practices. But it's as simple. It's a fancy word, but it's a really simple. There are simple practices that you can do in terms of just counting your breath, right? Just counting
Mm.
a 4 count inhale and a 4 count exhale. And it's amazing
Yeah.
the impact that it can have. And I will say that some people, myself included, find it difficult to do this on their own because it's like the mind can still wander, right? So
I
you're
get yeah.
counting, yeah, to 4. And so you can this is giving me a really great idea that I should have a free download with this
Mm.
guided, and I've done this for folks, right?
Right.
Leading into an event, just started and doing breath work with people. And
Mm.
so it would be a really easy thing for me to do. So idea
Yeah.
that, to just have it guided so that you can actually release the mind, right? Because when you're counting, you're like, oh boy, I'm still using my brain, and sometimes the brain is like, I'm going to override this counting
Yeah.
activity. And so it's different for everyone. It's different for
Right.
everyone.
I can't tell you how many times I've started over and I'm only counting to 4. Like
But that's okay. That's okay. And that's why we call it a practice, right? That's why we practice, because
right.
that's where we get to. And my breathing, I mentioned to you before this call, like there have been other transitions in my own life that are like, even, we still are in the COVID transition,
Yeah.
and everything else that goes along with that, and navigating like things are opening, is it safe, all these different things. And I've been coming back just again and again and again to the breath, and over and over. And I think sometimes we also think that, okay, well, I got it, I know how to do the 4-part inhale, the 4-part exhale, am I fixed now? It's like, okay, first, you're
Right.
not broken. First, you're
Yeah.
not broken. And
Mm,
second, sometimes you just need to go back to it again and
yeah.
again and again over the course of a day. And that can feel like it's not working, but really, truly, it's working. It's
Yeah.
working. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. We're not broken. We don't need to be fixed.
Mm. And I know
We're just,
sometimes it feels that way, right? You're just like, but I, and that's when you can also call your bestie or your dad or whoever it is who'll be like, you're not broken.
right.
Just to remind you, if that thought creeps in, you get your person or persons, whoever they are,
Mhm,
to
mhm.
remind you. And that can be really sweet.
It is. And
Yeah.
necessary to have those people in your life who can
100%.
mirror back to you the wise, the real truth, and not the truth that the
Not the
anxiety or
thousand
the stress
voices.
you over.
The
Yeah.
mikote.
We do. Like,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. So we take the pause, we get with our breath. What else can we do to recenter?
One of my favorite things. And I failed to give you this information, but in addition to being a mindset coach, I'm also a sound healer. Sound healing is a big part
Mm,
of how I work with clients in terms of doing mindset work, because I find that um, when we engage our voices, there's a whole host of physiological things that happen. So one of my favorite ways and things to do is to use mantra. And a mantra, you know, mantras have been around for so long. They are in like every religion. So whether you're religious or not, like they're everywhere, right? Ave Maria, it's a mantra.
yeah.
So, um, they're just everywhere. And we can recite them in our heads. And again,
Mm,
sometimes that doesn't work for people, right? We can speak them out loud. We could just say the words. Like, so whether if I'm just using Ave Maria because it came up, we could just be repeating Ave Maria in our minds. We could be saying it out loud for a certain amount of time. We could actually sing it. And the
mm.
singing part really is where I come in, and that's where we
Yeah.
go, with the mantra. Um, when we sing, whether definitely when we sing together, but even when we are singing alone, there are neurotransmitters that are being released, and actually those feel good neurotransmitters get released, and our breathing slows, our heart rate slows, like all
Mm,
of that really good, juicy, yummy stuff that's like saying calm happens
mm.
when we sing. And mantras, the reason, I mean, think about when you sing in the shower or sing in the car, right? You're feeling pretty good, or
Yeah.
it helps you lift your spirits. And what's cool about mantra is they're often these short repeated phrases. And so you don't have to memorize a whole song. You just get, right? You get a short phrase, and that's what you're repeating, and that's what you're doing. And maybe the melody changes a little bit, but this is,
Mhm.
just doing that over and over again. Is the repetition is also really, really helpful as well. So I love mantras. Um, I'm I'll be hosting an event actually a week from tomorrow. I'll be
Mm.
hosting, I call it mantra medicine because it's a little bit of medicine for the heart and soul and the mind, really, because
Oh, I love that.
it takes people from up here, and it's like you drop in,
Mm,
and it's such a cool place. One of the things that I've been reading in the book I mentioned in Breathe is I mentioned that mantras are in lots of different religions and lots of different practices. And one of the things that the author talks about is how the one thing all of these mantras and these chants have in common between all these different spirituality practices is they're the similar length.
mm.
And
So
so,
where you have to
it's
breathe
like,
and like
Because when we're singing the mantras, we're also, I talk about the 4 count, inhale, the 4 count, exhale. You actually get to do that like naturally with the mantra music
Wow.
process. So all these things just sort of like cascade really they happen. You don't have to
Mm,
force it. You don't have
mm,
to plan it. All you have to do is show up and participate, and it happens.
mm.
So
I love.
I love mantra, and I love mantra music.
I want to come. You said it's next week, next Wednesday.
It's next Wednesday. Yeah, it's going to be at 6:30 p.m. Pacific. So for you, my dear, that is 8:30.
8:30.
And if you're on the East Coast, that's 9:30. I like to do it so everyone can come and be there. And I'm super excited too because I have a dear friend who sings with me and accompanies me on guitar, and she is going to be there too. So last time I did it last month, it was just me, kind of testing the waters out again. But we are going to be full on and officially doing it, and I'm hopeful doing this as a reoccurring monthly thing as we go into summer. I'd like to just do it all year. I kind of
Right.
stopped. I did it weekly actually during the first part of the shutdown, and it really got me through. And then I took a pause. Hey, that's what pauses are
Good.
for,
You took
right?
your own
Pauses get
advice.
us through these things. Pauses are not bad.
Right.
Um, and then I was like, what's missing? The
Mm,
mantra music. It's time to just start sharing that again. Not only for me, right? Because it's so important to me, but also just to offer it and share it for people. So we'll do, it's like we pause after each mantra, we breathe in each mantra, and we sing in each mantra. And so it's all
mm.
happening. It's all happening
I
there.
love
And
that.
it's definitely a way of cultivating calm in
Mm,
what can feel like a chaotic world or a chaotic life or whatever it is that feels chaotic.
yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. All right. Well, you get me the link, and then I'll be sure to get
Yeah.
the link to for everybody else who wants to
Beautiful.
join us next Wednesday
We'd love
for
to have you.
mantra medicine.
Hmm.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I love it. Well, thank you so much for being here, Kara. It is
Thank you,
always a
Renee.
pleasure to see you and speak with you.
Thank you.
And Midwest Elevation, thank you all for watching, whether you're here live or in the replay. We will be back next week with the one and only Serena Andrea. I'm excited to introduce her to everybody
Wow.
in Midwest Elevation, a storyteller extraordinaire she is. So excited to be talking with her. So make sure you find us back here next week, 4:30 p.m. Central Time, 2:30 Pacific, and we'll see you then. Thanks, everybody.